yourself in the right mode. So I write, so I'll tell you what I wrote. I wrote 5 things. I wrote bipartisan, proud of New Jersey and our record, optimistic, upbeat, right direction.
Amen.
That's what I kept reminding myself, that that's what the people of New Jersey feel, that's what I feel, and no matter what she says to me tonight, I'm going to turn back to the camera, tell people how proud I am of my record of New Jersey, and appear as best I can to be optimistic and upbeat. After the second debate, my 2 oldest children, Andrew and Sarah, came backstage afterwards, and they looked at me and said, "Dad, how did you keep so under control? We wanted to kill her." And years of practice, guys, years of practice. But it's important. It's important to project ourselves in those circumstances in a way that makes the people who are our constituents proud of us. They're tired of seeing that stuff. They're seeing it, unfortunately for Rodney, in Washington, D.C. every day. And they're tired of it. And what they want is to hear about what you're going to get done. They don't want this to be a debating society. This is not intellectual exercise to talk about ideas that we're never going to get done. It's important to stick by your principles, and we do. But it's also important to get things done. And the difference that we're making in this state is that no matter who we have to work with, members of our own party, members of the other party, citizen groups across the state, one of the biggest things I've learned in the last 4 years about being an effective leader is to listen. Is to listen more than you talk. And, you know, I think you saw 2 different styles of leadership standing up there on that stage in those 2 debates. One person who had obviously taken the time to sit and listen to the people of the state and is trying to deliver to them what they want and what they need. And one person who's just hungry to have the job. Let me tell you, as somebody who's had the job for the last 4 years, it is not an easy job. And we have had some challenges over the last 4 years that I have to tell you, I could hardly imagine when I took the job. And so it's not a job that you hunger for just to have the title, because the title wears out pretty quick. You have to take the job because you want to do something. You want to do something. And that's why we want this job for the next 4 years. Because the work we've gotten done so far is good, but the opportunities we have now that we've laid that foundation are great. And I want to be here to finish the job for all of you that you gave me 4 years ago. And if you work for me on November 5th, I'm telling you, we are going to be able to have more Republican legislators in the state legislature. And that is going to mean if you like what we've done the last 4 years, you're going to love what we do the next 4. Guaranteed. So we can talk about a whole bunch of issues tonight, but the hell with that. You know, we've done that. You know where I stand. You've watched me work. You know who I am. And you know what direction I've taken the state in and where I want to take it for the next 4 years. I am preaching to the choir tonight. And so when you preach to the choir, you at least want to entertain them a little bit. Or else they fall asleep in the pews, you know? You don't want to have that happen. So let me finish by telling you one quick story about campaigning for governor over the last 10 months. There have been a lot of amazing moments. And certainly, off the year I've had, it's been actually really refreshing and uplifting for me to get out and campaign again. You know, the last year, the 1-year anniversary of which we commemorate on Tuesday, has been an extraordinary difficult year for me and my administration to deal with everything that's happened in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. And to know that tonight we still have citizens who are not back in their homes and folks who are still suffering. And so I don't go to bed any night without thinking about those people. And I hope you do too, because those folks still have a long road ahead of them. and we need to make sure that we keep them in our prayers. I'm going to keep working to get them back in their homes, to get their lives back to normal, because that's my mission. That's the mission I was given on October 29th of 2012. And I'm going to continue to do it, as long as you give me the opportunity to be the governor. So getting a break from that a little bit, to go out and campaign and meet people, not just people who have been devastated by the storm, which is what I spent most of the 8 months or so between Sandy and this past June doing, but now to be able to get out and see people in all other parts of the state and hear from them what their hopes and their aspirations are, and in typical New Jersey fashion, for them to share with me what they think of me, which can be interesting, and here's the story. About 3 weeks or so, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went to what was called the Senior Wellness Day at South Mountain Arena in West Orange. Now, you'll notice I call it South Mountain Arena. I know that it has been renamed for some years as Dick Cody Arena. I will never say it. Never, never, never. It's South Mountain Arena. And so I went to South Mountain Arena, and you know, they have 2 ice surfaces there. One less than Menin, I want to note. One less than Menin. And they had 2 ice surfaces there. They covered both the ice surfaces, and they had 3,000 Essex County senior citizens there were getting their blood pressure checked, you know, going over their medication regimen with nurses, getting served lunch. There were bands there. They were dancing. It was really a wonderful afternoon for these seniors. And so I didn't want to give any speech or anything like that and interrupt their fun. So I just kind of went from table to table to table, introducing myself, saying hello to folks. And after about 10 minutes of this, I got to a table where I shook a woman's hand. As I went to grab her hand, she stood up. And she said, "Hello, Governor. My name is Gladys, and I'm 82 years old." And I said, "Well, Gladys, nice to meet you." And she goes, "I didn't vote for you last time." And I said to her, "Don't worry, Gladys, lots of people didn't. That's no problem." And she said, "But I'm voting for you this time." I said, "Well, where are you from, Gladys?" She said, "I'm from Newark. I lived there my whole life." And I said, "Well, thank you for the vote, Gladys. I appreciate it." She goes, "You know, Governor, ever since Hurricane Sandy hit last year, every night since then, I pray for you. Every night." And I thought to myself, "Oh, how great." And I said, "That's so nice, Gladys. Thank you. I appreciate that." She said, "And then just a few weeks ago when I saw that awful fire on the Seaside Heights Boardwalk," she said, "I was watching on TV." She said, "I saw the fire raging behind you and you were standing behind all those microphones. And I have to tell you, Governor, for the first time since I've been watching you over the last 4 years, I was really worried about you. You looked tired. You looked really tired." And I said, "Well, it was a bad day, Gladys. I was pretty tired. It was a tough day." And she said to me, "So I said a special prayer for you that night." "Oh, thanks." And she said, "You want to hear it?" So I said, "Sure, okay." And she said, "Well, that night before I went to bed, I said, Lord, please give our governor strength, because I don't know how much more shit this boy can take." I thought to myself, only in New Jersey. Only in New Jersey, with this dignified 82-year-old woman, come up and tell the governor that story. Only in New Jersey would you have someone like that who didn't vote for you the last time come up and say to you they pray for you every night. The great news for us is she's voting for us this time. But I was having this conversation with one of my fellow governors who called to check in on me this week, and he said, "So tell me, like, how's the campaign feel out there? What's it like? How are people reacting?" So I told him that story. And I said, "Now you understand why I am the way I am, man. These are my people." I looked at this really lovely, soft-spoken, dignified is the only word I can think of, woman who thought nothing of putting the word Lord and shit in the same sentence. And she was not like the least bit self-conscious or embarrassed about it. And she had a big smile on her face, like, how about that prayer, huh? I looked at her and I said, well, I'm so flattered, Gladys, thank you. Thank you very much. And she patted me on the back and she said, you keep up the good work, young man, you keep up the good work. I said, thank you very much. And I walked away and I said, you know, there's so many things that come through you in a day when you meet that many people. And I said to myself, that one I have to remember. I have to remember that one. I've got to repeat it to Mary Pat when I get home so that we both remember. It's a great story because it's funny. The true stories are always funnier than the ones that get made up by writers. And the things that happen to you as governor in this state from interacting with people like Gladys are the things that make me feel so lucky to have this job. I'll end with this, everybody. It has been a long and winding road for me. And I always say this when I come to Morris County, that these are amongst the people who know me best, which I hope that means you're like me. You're amongst the most surprised people in America that I'm actually standing here, because we've gone on a long road together. And certainly when I left the Freeholder Board in 1997, involuntarily, I don't think there were a lot of people that day who were thinking to themselves, yeah, you know, this guy, he's going to be governor, you know? Yeah, maybe Frank Drexler was probably the only one. He, of course, helped me leave involuntarily, which was an unusual way to show the love, but you know, that's Frank. But when I left elected politics the first time that many years ago, I know that I didn't think it. And I suspect that most of you in the room didn't think it either. And the opportunity that you all given me to be the governor of the state where I was born and raised is just the greatest honor and privilege that I know I'll ever have in my life. That you can't imagine how proud I am when I travel around this state, but more importantly, how proud I am when I travel around this country. And I tell people that I'm the governor of New Jersey. Because everybody has an opinion and a point of view and a thought about us. And that's increased geometrically in the last year as they've watched this state and its people recover from the second worst natural disaster ever to hit this country. And they've watched all of us pull together. They've watched us work together. They've watched us support and pray for our neighbors. They've watched us literally pick people up and hold them when they've lost everything in their lives. They've seen how tough we are as a people and how compassionate we are at the same time. And how much we really care for and understand each other. This state is a family. A family that's happy to bicker with each other and fight with each other when we need to. But don't let anybody else from outside the family come and pick a fight with one of our own. Because then we stand up for each other. When you get to be the governor of a group of people like that, you're truly blessed. And I am blessed. And I said in the debate that this is the last campaign that I'll ever run in New Jersey. And so nobody, none of you people out here, come to me years from now and say, hey, what about the U.S. Senate? Rodney, don't. None of you do it. I have never, ever, will not ever do. This is it, everybody. I'm 2 terms as governor, and I'm done. And so the last 10 days for me, I'm going to make sure that I enjoy every minute of it. We're going to do a bus trip like we did 4 years ago, except for bigger and longer. We'll get on the bus next Wednesday, and we're going to be on the bus for 6 days, and in 6 days we're going to make 52 stops in all 21 counties in every legislative district. in this state. And I wanted to do that. I told my campaign I wanted to do it because I know this is my last run around the block in New Jersey as a candidate for statewide office. And I want to experience every part of this amazing state and as many of its people as I possibly can in 6 days.